What's up, everybody? It's your favorite YouTuber, Matt Yari, doing my little driving rant for you. I know it's the whole reason for the existence of the internet is for me to make these videos while I drive and talk about whatever is on my mind. So today, what I'm thinking about, it was in my journal entry this morning. I've been kind of thinking about it this past week, listening to some voices on the internet that I trust and that I have learned a lot from. And they talk about the idea of having an abundance mindset versus a scarcity mindset. And there's the corollaries to that is, are you a giver or a taker? So if you're in an abundance mindset, then you're naturally going to be a giver because life is abundant and you trust the abundance of the world. You trust your ability to receive abundance, and therefore you're able to give because it comes naturally to you. And then there's the mindset of scarcity, which is obviously accompanied by the taker. And that's the idea that we live in a scarce world of limited resources, and you can't really trust people, the world. And so you're more inclined to take, you're more inclined to steal, and you're more inclined to be in a negative headspace. And I think that these mindsets can show up in really little ways. What's the word for it? They show up in different ways, and you don't realize that it's a reflection of that mindset. That makes sense? So I have a little confession here. The confession, this isn't not yet the confession, is I have been trying to identify the scarcity mindset in my life. How does that show up for me? Which beliefs am I holding on to? And then how does that manifest in different actions that I'm taking? See? And one thing I realized, so here's the confession part, and it's really silly. It's not a big deal, I don't think so, but it's kind of, if you really dig at it, it's kind of shitty. It's not like horrible, right? But it's like when I go to the grocery store and they have the bulk bins where they have like fucking chocolates or dried fruit and stuff like that, and you can kind of just open it up and like grab a couple of them and just kind of munch on them without paying for it. It's things like that. So I do that all the time. Or another one, and this is silly, this is extremely, it's so silly. It's grabbing organic fruit and then punching it in at the self-service as if it's not organic. Oh! Really pulling one over on Whole Foods with that one. And it's easy to justify, at least it has been easy for me to justify, because I'm not stealing from a person, right? There's no individual who is really feeling any kind of a financial burden. It's a corporation with inventory, and there's nobody who has really lost anything per se in me taking a couple of chocolates or not punching in my items correctly in the self-service. And I've been thinking about it, And it's not even the fact that I'm stealing from a person. Like, there's a human being who is affected by it. Because, like, isn't really. But it's more so that kind of behavior is just kind of petty. And what is it, like, why do I feel compelled to do that? And it comes from a scarcity mindset. Obviously, that's the behavior of a taker, not a giver. Trying to save a buck on my apples by saying that it's not organic. It's just really silly. And so I just went to the grocery store. Aren't you proud of me? Look, I got organic apples and I punched it in as organic. Because I'm such a fucking saint. I'm a man of God. Paying for my organic apples. But it's also like, when I think about how I feel when I'm doing it, I kind of feel like, I'm getting away with this little crime. And I'm sort of thinking about, like, is the staff watching me? I feel like I'm being watched when I take a malted milk ball out of the bulk bin and punch in my bananas incorrectly to save 50 cents. And so there's this underlying feeling of, like, guilt, even though nobody's being hurt, and it's kind of like, as far as crimes go, it's kind of bullshit. But it's the mindset. It's just a reflection of a mindset of scarcity. And so I'm taking a vow. I put it down in my journal to just stop doing little stupid little bullshit like that, right? Does a multi-millionaire need to save 50 cents on his bananas? Or her banana? No. What do they give a fuck? So if I'm going to be that, they say be, do, have. You have to embrace the identity that you wish to experience. So if I'm going to embrace the identity of someone who's wealthy and abundant, well, that kind of person doesn't need to feel like they're sneaking around in Whole Foods trying to save a couple of worthless pennies on these petty little games. So that's my talk. Are you a giver or a taker? Do you have an abundance of scarcity or mindset? And how does that show up in your life? And that's all I have for you right now. Thank you for listening. God bless.